cooking like your life depends on it, and tonight I will be making crispy kale. Crispy kale is one of those dishes that's healthy and it's inexpensive, and family will absolutely love it. It only takes 4 ingredients to make crispy kale, and to begin with, what I did is I took the kale and I washed it and I dried it. And the reason that I did that is because you do not want the kale to be wet at all when you put it into the oven to roast it. I also took the pieces and broke them into little pieces because the stems of the kale are very tough and they will not crisp up. So I have the crispy kale ready cut up here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the cooking sheet and then add some of the other ingredients. The first ingredient is a healthy olive oil spray. I prefer this over Pam because it doesn't have any artificial ingredients in it. And what I'm going to do is take this and spray it lightly on the cookie sheet and make sure that's saturated. So when I put the kale onto the cooking sheet, it will absorb the oil from the bottom and also from the top. So I'm going to take the kale and put it onto the cookie sheet and lightly spread it around. Make sure that the pieces don't touch each other because that's really the best way that the kale will become crispy and become like kale chips, almost like potato chips. And again, make sure that there's no stems that are in the kale. So I'm going to spread it around, and this is one of the best parts of it. You take the olive oil, you take about a little less than a tablespoon, put it into the palm of your hand, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to massage the olive oil into the kale, just like you're going to wash somebody's hair. And you make sure that the kale is completely saturated, because if you get the oil on the kale, then it will cook evenly. And once you do that and you saturate the kale, the last step is to take pink salt, which I like the pink salt versus table salt or iodized salt or kosher salt. And pink salt is very healthy. It still contains all the nutrients that are in the natural salt. And I sprinkle it lightly onto the kale. And as I sprinkle it, I make sure that it goes on evenly, and I saturate it with olive oil and the pink salt. Now you can add pepper to this. You can add other spices such as garlic powder, cayenne pepper, any spice that you like. And then I'm going to roast this now in the oven at 350 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now you have to watch this because the kale will start turning brown, and you want to pull it out when the entire sheet is brown and not black, and you want to make sure that the pieces aren't green. So I'm going to put this in the oven now. The kale is just about done now. It's been roasting for about 10 to 15 minutes. And again, depending on your oven, it could take a little longer. And also you could cook it at a little lower temperature for a longer period of time, and it will still crisp up just as nice. So the kale is done perfectly now. And the way you know that is by looking at the pieces. They're very crispy and they look kind of like chips. And when the kale is done, you just let it cool down a bit, and then you can transfer it to a dish before serving, obviously. So I'm going to transfer it to this dish, and I'm just going to try it to make sure that it came out correctly. Absolutely perfect. And the nice thing is about this is that you could actually store it in a airtight container for a day or two and use it for snacks. You can use it for family dinners. It's one of those things that's very easy to have around, and it stores very quickly. So thank you for coming tonight and sharing our crispy kale recipe, and I'll see you soon.